Hi there, it's Mr. Murphy back again for another physical skills video, and today it's going to be on data gathering methods. So to begin with, we've already been over some ways of gathering data through different factors, so I'll just run over it again. For a performer, it's very important to be gathering data on your performance, and each factor will have data gathering methods, and it's taken through the cycle of analysis, and this is normally the kind of first stage that we would do for this. The process with a cycle analysis, as I've just said, begins with collecting data because it discovers how good your performance levels are. By doing this, it identifies areas of weakness and areas of strength. So it gives you kind of a starting point when you're going into developing your performance. Here are just some of the importances of collecting data. So to begin with, like I've said, strengths and weaknesses are both identified by doing this, and it allows you to identify areas that you need to develop on, and then you can create a development plan that is appropriate and is around a specific weakness that you want to improve. The measurement as well is a key part of the data collection as it helps you reflect your progress. So it gives you a baseline measurement. For example, me, I've been doing this as well because, as you know, we've all been in lockdown and my fitness has went down. So the first run I went on, I'd done a 5k and I think it took me about 28 minutes. So that is my baseline measurement. And here it says you can compare your future test results and you can retest. So I've been doing that as well. The runs that I've been going on more recently have been getting to like 26 minutes, so that kind of shows the improvement. Targets, this can tie in with the targets as well. So the initial data helps you make appropriate targets. So when I first done the first run, which I think was a month ago when I started trying to run again, my target is to get a sub 25-minute 5k. That is the target in mind. So by doing that, by doing your baseline testing and your data gathering, it kind of lets you create reasonable targets. So I wouldn't have set a target that's like 20 minutes in a 5k because that's not realistic at all. And by me setting myself a realistic target, this has given me motivation to get started and to keep going with the training program. So here's just an overview and a list of different data gathering methods. So you can have a wee look at this, but you can pause it for a minute if you like. As you can see through it, like performance profile wheel, that's through all the different factors. If we go second in from the right, the physical skills, this is what we're obviously looking at just now. You've got performance profile wheel, which we'll look at, the general observation schedule, which we'll look at, and the scatter diagram at the bottom, which we'll look at as well, okay? So here, to begin with, you can see on the right is the performance profiling wheel. You might have seen it before, but maybe with something different on the outside, like mental factors. But this is physical factors around this one on the right. And this method just gives you a broad overview of the different sub-factors within the specific factor, whichever one you choose. So it's a method of identifying and rating yourself against the factors that you feel are important for success in your sport. The performer who's doing this will list physical qualities, like you can see, around the outside of the wheel. And when you complete it, it kind of goes from 1 to 10. You can see it on the right here as well. 1 is the closest to the centre, 10 to the outside. So you would rate yourself how you personally feel from 1 to 10 in specific sub-factors around the circle, and 10 obviously being the best, 1 being the worst. The performer can then evaluate the strengths and weaknesses. And when doing this, it's quite easy to see when you look at it first thing, as we'll see here with some of the benefits. Obviously, it's easy to complete. Anyone could complete it, I think. It doesn't take a lot of time to do. It's a permanent record that you can compare to your previous performance profile wheels. And if you complete it in colour, it can make it easier to identify areas of weakness. Even if you don't do it in colour, it's easy to identify areas of weakness because you can see the different heights throughout the different skills. Second one we're moving on to is the general observation schedule. So here again is another photo. We can see this is on a badminton match analysis, and the different skills are the serve, the overhead clear, drop shot, smash, net play, and then we've got the total, so the total tallies you would write in there, and you would work out the percentage and put that there on the right hand side as well. And as we look down, we've got very effective, fairly effective, ineffective, and again a total and the percentages that we can work out. So you could do this with basketball as well. You could do a basketball match analysis sheet, and you could do set shot, jump shot, chest pass, bounce pass. It is quite broad and you could adapt it to your sport. So if you're writing about it in an exam and you're more comfortable writing about basketball, you could just write about a basketball general observation schedule and just change the skills. An experienced performer or a teacher like myself could watch the game and could tick it and make sure that the record is accurate. Again, like I've said, the tallies are in the 3 categories and the percentages are also worked out. So it is simply straightforward. If it's similar again, I think with all the different methods, you can kind of write similar stuff with them. So again, easy to use, easy to fill out. You can identify strengths and weaknesses, and you can see them quite clearly with the percentage. The raw data and percentages can be deeply analysed. You're examining the key elements, the key skills of the game, and the information is easily retrieved, and you can easily look at it. Scatter diagram. I think, like the one on the right here, it's quite easy to do it with badminton. So you've got the pitch easily laid out, you can identify it. The performer's here on the bottom right, and the feeder is on the top left. The way you would do this is the feeder would just throw over a shuttle and you would hit it back, probably your weak shot you would use, and you could easily identify where the shuttles have been landing. So you would mark an X whereabouts on the court the shuttle has landed. So the feeder give you 10 shuttles, you hit 10 back, and you easily just cross where it is. It's as simple as that. So this will highlight patterns or consistencies or inconsistencies. So if you're hitting the overhead clear right to the back tram lines, 10 out of 10, that clearly shows you that that's a strength. Maybe if you do, I don't know, a drop shot and it's landing quite far back of the court and it's not landing just past the net, that easily identifies that that is a weakness. The benefits of this is it is a lot more focused than some of the other ones. So it's a single skill and it's focusing and homing down on that one skill. The results are easy to interpret and you can quickly see patterns that you're making, and the progress again in this one can be measured. So you can see if you have a first sheet that you've done, if you've done this one 2 weeks ago and they were all over the place, and you've done one today and they were more concise, the shots were landing more in the same area, that shows you that you can compare and you're improving. This one wasn't on the very start page. This is the technical checklist, or a PAR sheet. It's called a PAR sheet because, as you can see on the right, it's got preparation, action and recovery. So this one, again, is, I think a lot of them are quite simple and quite straightforward when you get a bit of base knowledge about them. So the preparation, it tells you, starts from the base, performer tracks path of the shuttle, while moving they turn their body side on. And to the right, with the first performance, you would tick if they do that right, or you would leave it blank if they don't do that. And each stage is a different part of badminton. So for example, preparation starts from the base, and we look all the way to the recovery. This is after you've played the shot. The racket comes down to the body in the recovery position. So you can see the way it goes through. And in the middle, it's obviously the action when you're actually doing the shot that you're looking at. And again, the second performance, there's a column on the right for that, and that's because you can compare and you can see if you are improving. So on the left we've said, yep, the checklist is broken down into 3 phases, which we can see. Each phase contains subroutines, which provide a description of the correct technique, which we've went through, and obviously there are 3 different phases during the game. So they're obviously different actions or subroutines. And the performer could watch a video of them performing their weakest skill and place a tick next to the subroutine. We'll come on a wee bit more about videos later as well. Here we are. Like I've just said there, with all the methods, you could use a video. So on your phone, maybe the school has an iPad or something, you set it up, you need to make sure that the whole pitch or the whole court is in the frame, that there's obviously storage on the camera and there's battery on the camera. You would set that up, the whole picture, and instead of marking it after you finish or someone marking it for you, you could go back, you can pause the video, rewind it, so on and so forth, and it's just going to give you that little bit more accuracy when you're doing your results. So yeah, if the camera is there, we can pause it, we can play it slow motion if you want to see the full performance, and you'll get more accurate results. So limitations for all of these things that we went through today.